Hello, everybody. Slightly Slanted Sleuth coming at you with a talk with Phil Langdon. We're having issues with him trying to sign in, so please forgive me. Bear with me for a minute. I'm looking down at my phone right now, so. And whoever's here. There we are. Hey, everybody. There we are. Hey, everybody. So, yeah, we're having issues with Phil getting on here. I'm checking my email right now. But yeah, how's everybody doing? What's up, Menza? What's up, Paula? Travis? P. Turtle? I like turtles. I'm glad you could join us. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Zoom. I had to update it or whatever, but I'm going to send him another invite here. I'm working on it, guys. So, what's up? So, yeah, how's everybody doing in this sorry. I don't know what the heck's going on here, guys. But we're still here, right? Right? We're still here. Okay, guys. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on. He keeps telling them there's another meeting in progress. I have no idea what that's about, but kind of frustrating. Seeing as this that doesn't happen every day, sometimes you just need a little practice. Little practice doing what? You can accept someone else's or you can find your own maybe. We program our own realities with thought. Yes, we do program our own realities with thought. Huh. I do not know where my guest is. Let me go to my settings here. I do not know what's going on here, folks. Wonderful. Okay, bear with me. I'm going to try this one more time. What the heck? What the heck? Okay, folks, I don't know. I guess we're gonna have to proceed without him until he shows up. Hopefully he shows up. But yeah, it's kind of disappointing. But yeah, you guys had this problem last time. Yeah, we had I'm in communication with him right now, but he just can't get on. What's up, Maxie? For some reason, it says another meeting in progress, and I don't know what that means, but yeah. Last time I live streamed the other day, we were reading from this book, and I guess we'll just do this for now. And we were talking about this happened last time I watched, same guy too. My river runs to him. Yeah, last time there was a mix up in the time zones because he's 6 hours ahead of us, and we had said, okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Well, tomorrow to him was another day than for me. Yeah, I closed my Zoom down and I went into Zoom again. And I re-upped the redid the thing. Yeah, I tried all that. So yeah. Yeah, but we were talking about, yeah, and that's where he's at. He's in the UK. Yep. Okay, now we were talking about the actual act of ascension and how it shows in Egyptian. Here, what we're reading right here. This is from Phil's book, The Ascension Handbook. We were speaking of how all stories in our reality pretty much relate to like Noah's flood, the Exodus, even Nibiru, the story of Nibiru. They all are the same story. And just like the Egyptian weighing the heart against a feather. Yes, I got it linked in the comments section below. I disappeared. What do you mean I disappeared? Oh, you can't see the book pages? Oh. Okay. You see, we were speaking about the lotus flower and the lotus stem coming from Vishnu's stomach. And then how it's the same in see the lotus flower in the Egyptian hieroglyph where it shows the lotus coming up from the waters of noon at the feet of Osiris. Osiris embodies the reincarnation cycle or life into death with the recreation, the recreative principle, which is the seed to seed, which is our born into bondage of human incarnation to recreate the light of the world, the only begotten, which is in essence the same as the story of Noah, Exodus, yada, yada, yada. Only holding a flower. Very good. Yes, dream coat. Now we can see. Okay. Yeah, but I haven't gotten an email from him. Hopefully, yeah, but okay now. And we were speaking of how the Egyptian Book of the Dead, or the coming forth by day, is a pretty much a handbook for, or a depiction or a reading. What's up, Piccolo son? I'm glad you're here. Piccolo son, or Piccolo son. But right here, I'm going to speak of this right here. This this right here, and how the Fibonacci and the phi ratio is in Egyptian hieroglyphs, and it's our creative template, if you will, as far as geometry goes. And that's why the Mandelbrot set has the Fibonacci sequence numbers in the set in the Mandelbrot, and the phi ratio is embedded in there, yada yada yada, all of the above. And the 1.1618 is you get ever closer to it as you rise in number in the Fibonacci sequence. Like when you start out, because if you divide the first number by the second number, or divide the second number by the first number, you get 1.1618, and then as you go higher, that number gets closer to 1618.1 or 16182.3. I forget what the exact number is because I'm not a math genius, but the phi ratio the golden mean is 1.1618, right? Not 1.816. Correct? Yes, it's a control for growth. It's embedded in all of nature, in sunflowers, in seashells, etc. But yeah, now in the top left corner of the sanctuary is a bird in flight. With the single eye, it is in its midst holding out an extended single feather. Since this feather is in the upper right line of our upper sight line of Osiris as he sits on the throne, we are being shown a symbolic depiction of the pineal light as it appears in the underworld when you see it. The pineal light is the only begotten. It's the pinnacle, and I don't think there's any coincidence in how close it is to pinnacle and pineal. And that's why in the central courtyard of the Vatican, there is a pine cone statue. And it is, the pine cone is representing the pineal light because it is forever. It is the pineal light is the demiurge, which is the same as the only begotten in the Bible. The demiurge is the Gnostic view of it. So, I mean, it's evergreen. The pine cone is from an evergreen tree because it's forever. And evergreens, as we all know, are green throughout the year. There is no leaf falling from the tree, if they're healthy, of course. 1.618, right. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. But in this symbolic representation where it's showing the Osiris on his throne, it's showing that, the feather. And the feather, what did we find out that the feather represented? The feather represented, hang on. I don't know. I'm kind of pineal light is the light of the temple. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. The weight of the soul. The feather is representative of the reincarnation cycle, I think. Hang on. I'm just a little flustered about waiting for Phil here, and I know he's probably flustered too. Although you would never see it from him. Okay, now next to the weighing of the heart, we see Thoth, the scribe, writing down the apparent result of weighing Unifer's heart. Thoth, meaning truth, is a reference to the light of the pineal, being the manifest non-physical truth of the first aeon, Divine Mother Pistis Sophia. Thoth is God's son. He is conscious of all that occurs, being timeless, and therefore is the keeper of the Akashic record. Therefore, he is a scribe, and means he is the one who writes down the result of sin or karmic debt. The truth knows all timelessly. Make your heart as light as a feather. Right. Oh, Maat is what it represents. Next to Hunifer is Anubis. Anubis again weighing his heart in scale against the weight of a feather of Maat. The depiction of the cosmic divine order, since the single feather of truth represents the manifest physical world. That's what the feather represents, is the manifest physical world, which has physical weight. The fact the Hunifer's heart is shown as being lighter than the feather shows us an apparent promise that the scroll's depiction will guarantee Hunifer a safe passage through the hall of judgment. It is saying in the misunderstanding that his heart did not accumulate any sin, which is considered weighty. In fact, this is the first key to heaven, when the body seems to lose all of its weight, as you become aware of the Spirit of God uniquely and burn cold as a blue flame in the bliss of mystical union. That's the first meeting, I guess, that when you meet God. The second one is when you create the only begotten with God, right? So the feather of Maat is representation of the physical world as a whole. Okay. Now we'll go on to the as he sits on the throne, we are being shown a symbolic depiction of the pineal light as it appears in the underworld when you see it. Behind Osiris, as if it were emphasized with an emphasis on his nervous system, which resides in the back of the body, Isis and Nephthys stand in worship as the two aspects of the psyche, emotion and intuition, as much as the two brain lobes that house the waters of life. They complement an accomplishment of logic represented by Osiris. It is logic we use to unify Shiva and Shakti. And he's speaking of this depiction right here, where it shows, see the lotus right here, the sons of Horus, and it's showing this lotus is the stem to the 2, to the 3rd, and then the 4. That's the completed tree of life, coming from the waters of noon, which is right here at the feet of Osiris. Osiris is on his throne, and this is the bird in flight that I was speaking of. Can you guys see that? That is the pineal light, and it's there, and it depicts that because it's in his line of sight. And Nephthys and Isis that are behind Osiris represent the lobes of the brain. And it's just like that Godhead pictograph I showed you guys. Don't get fostered that is emotion. You must control all emotions so that they have not control over your consciousness. Hey, what's up, Paul? We're waiting on Phil. I don't know what happened to him. I'll check my email here again. So bear with me. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm going to try one more thing here. I'm going to go to Zoom on my phone. And try to send it to him that way. I don't know what's going on here. I have no idea. I have no clue. I don't know. There, I tried it one more time there. Let's see if it works. But yeah, sorry guys, I apologize big time. Because there are entities that don't want humanity to make these connections. You don't need to fear those entities. I don't fear any entity. The only one I fear is my wife. Or, right. The only judgment I fear is my wife. Correct. Ain't that the truth? That's why I changed my name to Flow, because I'm always going with the flow, right? Okay, now in the pineal light, which is the bird in flight, behind Osiris, as if to emphasize his nervous system, which represents in the back of the body, Isis and Nephthys stand in worship as the two aspects of the psyche, emotion and intuition, as much as the two brain lobes that house the waters of life. They complement the accomplishment of logic, represented by Osiris. It is logic we use to unify Shiva and Shakti. Now, the two aspects of the psyche are also in the story of Atlantis, the island of Kior and the island or the city of what is it? Undal, or wait. But that's the story of Atlantis is the same as the story of the deluge of the Exodus. They're all same story, you know, the hero's journey from ignorance to reason, you know, for our, it's like in the great city of Kior on the island of Undal in a time far past. So it's Kior and what was the other one? Unal? Kior and Chien, I think. Yeah, listen to this. Directed the changing of the flower of fire that burns eternally, changing and shifting, using the logos until the great fire changed in its direction. Over the world then broke the great waters, dropping and sinking, changing Earth's balance until only the temple of light was left standing on the great mountain of Undal, still rising out of the water. Some there were who were living, saved from the rush of the fountains. Now that is, people interpret that as a physical thing that happened on Earth, like the waters washed over Atlantis. Well, consider yourself Atlantis. Okay. Now the waters that are changing Earth's balance are the bliss of knowing, the accomplishment of making the connection. Now the mountain, now changing the Earth's balance where only the temple of light was left standing on the great mountain. Now the great mountain is the mountain of Maat, you know, the Mount Meru, or the pyramid, if you will. That's why the pyramid was in the middle of the water in ancient days. When the pyramid was built, water used to inundate the pyramids, and this is what activated the pyramids. It would make it a water hammer. You know, it would resonate, and it would shine a beam of light from the point of one, you know, the one point of truth at the top of it. That's why the pyramid scheme is the pyramid scheme, because you go from a base of not knowing and gathering discernible information, And as you gather that information, it rises to one truth, to one point. And that one point is the great mountain on Undal, which is still rising out of the water. Some there were who were living, saved from the rush of the fountains. Called up to me then the master, saying, gather ye together me, my people, take them by the arts ye have learned of, far across the waters until ye reach the land of the Bahari barbarians, dwelling in caves of the desert. Follow the plan for ye know of. Okay, now right here it says, fast we fled toward the sun of the morning, until beneath us lay the land of the children of Chem. Raging they came with cudgels and spears, lifted in anger, seeking to slay and utterly destroy the sons of Atlantis. Right? Then I raised my staff and directed a ray of vibration and cowed they to my magic science. But yeah, the sons of Atlantis is mentioned numerous times in this book. But I wanted to read from, where does the information come from within you? The Akashic, because the Akashic is the consciousness. It's everything. If we have no fear, then we do not have to worry about what we reveal. We reveal because we love. Yeah, but there's a point where you reveal and you're caught up in the revealing, so you don't have the time that it takes to get there, if you understand what I mean. If you concentrate on nothing but the negative and the malevolent, you will never find the benevolence within you. The benevolence within you is what we are all seeking for. This is the only reason why we are here on this planet, is to recreate that which creates us. That is the light of the world, the Son of Man, the Son of God. And we are the bride. All physical creation is the bride. And God inseminates us with the truth. Then born is the sun of the world, the light of the world. And, you know, it's depicted on many levels. What's up, number one, Matt Man? Atlantis gave electric power to humans, which is destroying all. You know, one could say that water is always a main motif in the Ascension stories. That's why the Great Deluge has to do with water, because the waters of life we are all born from the waters of life, which is the great chaotic ocean, the cosmic ocean, the unmanifest potential of the waters of noon. And water is always involved. And this is the reason why why water used to, you know, the Nile River moved from where it used to be. You know, it used to flood that's why the ibis bird is depicted as Thoth, you know, the bird-headed freak, because ibis comes when the inundation happens every year, because the ibis follows the flood, because there's more fish when the flood happens. But, you know, all of the but I just have been trying to do just that for 52 years now. So when does it come to pass? It could be electricity that allows our consciousness to live forever. I think our consciousness is it. What's up?
I wasn't talking.
Oh, which is essentially electric, because everything is electric. Everything, well, not electric per se, because electricity is a marriage between dielectric, or the dielectric and magnetism. That's what electricity is. So in essence, we are all with solar cooled. Yes. That is what squaring the circle is. That is what the yin and the yang is, because we are infinite within the finite. And that is the purpose, to find our true bearing, or what we are, through the finite world. I mean, that is the hero's journey. That is the path of the sun in the house of bread. You know, that is the morning, noon. You know, noon is the pinnacle, and at noon is when we see the light. You know, okay. Now I'll go on with the now the halls of Amenti you know, I was told, I was shown by a person quite eloquently. She said that menti means mental in Spanish, and I had no idea that was the. They have dammed the Nile now. Hydroelectric plant. Yes. Yes. Max Vision remote. Have you looked into the straw man commercial instrument? Yes, but sometime within the 52 years, something good should have happened by now. Sun is the right eye, Earth third eye, Moon is left eye. Very well could be. Now, Paula, for the one who struggles the most is the one closest to liberation. Don't lose sight on the prize. Now, if you strive for something, it's good, but to dwell on something isn't so good. So if you're dwelling in a mindset of the negative, then nothing but negative will become. That's not being said that, you know, in the natural world, shit happens, right? That's my take anyway. Life with Laura, what's up, sweetheart? I am so trying to find you on Facebook. Can't find you, but left a message on a link I found on Forbidden News. Love this stuff. Well, you're part of the Blue Crew now, sweetheart. And if anybody hasn't checked out Life with Laura, click on her icon there. She has an awesome channel. She has an awesome message. She's one of the good, just like we all are here. I mean, she's in the good fight for us. I mean, we're all good, but yes. When they talk about Egypt in the beginning, that are talking about when there was one continent. Now, Egypt is in the Bible. Egypt is the slavery of the ego, you know, and you know that's what the Exodus from Egypt is about. And you know, because we are all Jews, in essence, like we're all gems, you know, because Jew means gem, and Israel is the. Solomon says Satan, number 1, is greater than the sun. Number 4, and moon. I don't know anything about astrology. You know, I talk or I haven't really looked into it. Saturn is your crown chakra. Above to the left of the sanctuary on the scroll, there are 14. Oh, whoa, I skipped ahead. Sorry. Now, the square of the throne of Osiris sits on it. Osiris sits on is a projection from an initial square. In the bottom right-hand corner to the full expanded square of the throne of itself, showing consciousness has expanded greatly. And that's just like the, you know, the Barnard's loop that emanates from the Orion Nebula is, you know, is the same Fibonacci or phi sequence that, you know, consciousness is, you know, and oddly enough, black hole sun is what brought me to the only begotten son, which eventually found me Phil. You know, Phil found me, you know, and I don't know how to open the 7 seals. It's done within you. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Thank you, Menz. I appreciate that, brother. Yes. And since, oh, here, I'm skipping ahead. Sorry if I'm so choppy right now. I'm trying, you know, I was hoping that he would show up, but I guess he's not gonna. And it's no fault of his, you know, they said they wouldn't let him in. I don't know what's going on, but it said meeting in progress already. Saturn, Kronos, this means that it is time that we must overcome. Now, how the hell do we do that? I think we all do that in our own time. For only God knows your time. You know, God's the only one that knows, you know, and God is everybody. Now, that is a little convoluted, but it's a simplicity that is everything is made from clay. The cosmos to the man, to the woman, to the creatures on earth, to the plants, to the animals, everything. That's what's the thumbnail of this. It shows you the 7 kingdoms, which are the 7 Hermetic principles, which are, you know, mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, gender, mentalism. And mentalism is Sunday, the day of rest, when we recreate that which creates us. That's why it's called Sunday, because that is when the sun appears in your psyche. On the mountain, when you turn around in the abyss and you see the sun. And now we were talking about the first meeting, which is the first key to heaven. And that is when your body becomes light as a feather, when you rise to the occasion, to the top of Undal in the Atlantis story. Now, the second meeting is when you recreate that which creates you, the seed to seed of the Bible. You know what I mean? We are each a unique individual expression of creator. Yes. Yes. Thank you. I appreciate that, Menza. If meeting is in progress, he might be there waiting. No, I'm watching the participants in the chat room right now on Zoom, and he's not here yet, unfortunately. God is both evil and good. Merge them together in goodness' sake. Yes. Epicurus knows. What's Epicurus? So then how do we die before we die so that when we die, we don't die? This is killing of the ego, living through love, not through self-gratification or self-service. One must take care of oneself so one can to reach the pinnacle. That doesn't mean that you can just throw your life to the lions and think that you're going to live forever. That's Hermetic says the absolute backbone. You die and appear here and die again, appear in another life, thinking this reality was an illusion. Isn't everything an illusion? I mean, if we are ineffable in a finite, transient state, then everything must be an illusion, right? Because if we are the dream within the dream, then the dream is an illusion. But don't fool yourself, for you must pay mind to the relative, this life. Otherwise, you be cast upon the rocks and torn asunder, right? You be mindful of the absolute, but do not forget the relative, because without the relative, the now, the here, this life, you will not ever attain absolution. Absolution is attainable through the finite structure of the transient body, the transient state. Now, whether we decide to come back afterwards is incumbent upon us and how much we've, I don't know, because I figure that, this is speculation on my part because I haven't attained it as you will. But I mean, most of us that are probably on YouTube with channels in this time are probably, I'm not saying just on YouTube, but throughout the world, these are probably the ones that are decided. Maybe we have accomplished this before. Now, I thought if you accomplished this before, then you would remember this. Now, maybe that's where some of us see a certain number sequence through life. Like me, I've seen 333, or certain issues pop up over and over in your life. Now, I was told that certain things are shown you, or you're nudged along your way if your heart is in the right spot. Now, that's only speculation on my part that we have, come together here in this time and trying to awaken people. But you can only try to awaken people so much. You cannot force the horse to drink the water you lead him to. Now, that is what makes the path of God, the path to God, personal. And we cannot think that you can pull anybody by the nose to the trough and force them to drink because they're thirsty, because you think they're thirsty. Now, they have to be thirst. They have to have the thirst on their own, right? Trials, changing of the ages, imagination, just an illusion. Great song, right? Death is the beginning. Wait, we die to the old ways, death to the ego. Once we realize the reality we thought we knew is actually a false reality fabricated by those who manipulate the Hermetic principles to control the masses. Very good. Death could be the start. Yes. Death there, P. Turtle says, if death, therefore, the most awful of evils, is nothing to us, seeing that when we are, death is not come, and when death is come, we are not. Epicurus, thank you. You die and appear, and Free Press 666 says, you die and appear here, and die again, appear in another life. Yes, I read that already. But yeah, you guys, the awakened become aware and stand up. Some go back to sleep. Cheesy but great track. You guys are talking about that song. Yes, they must awaken themselves. Yes, and that's, you have to want. You have to have the will to want, and have to have the want to have the will to want, I suppose, is what it is, right? But yeah, I don't know why Phil isn't here. Check my email again, bear with me, that's why I'm looking at the screen so blankly. I don't know if anybody else wants to come on. I'll invite you on. You just give me the word if anybody else wants to come on. The trust for knowledge of who you are and who the Father is. You can't go backwards ever. Very well. It's a narrow gate. Yeah, and that's what it says, right? Okay, now in the I wish I had this picture. Hey, what's up, Delaney? I'm glad you're here, sweetheart. How are you? Thank you. Thank you, thank you. But the seven Hermetic principles are the 7 gates, the 7 days, the 7 continents, the seven oceans, the 7 chakras, the 7 this, the 7 that. And like I was saying, the 7th day is the day of rest, the day of the Lord, because it is the day in which we create the seed that creates us, right? Thirst. He who is not satisfied with little is satisfied with nothing. Very good. I like that. And yeah. Yes. Cut your own trail, then follow your own crowd. And that's me exactly. Now, that's not to say that having a fellowship of same mindful people is a bad thing either. Yet we are our own thought waves of sorts that try to find our own way, and it is the best to go within before you put your I don't know, thought on something without, right? So that which is within you is also within me. The 7 seals, right? The 7, that's why 7 comes up repeatedly everywhere. And that was one of the main questions I wanted to ask Phil today was, what's with the 144? Is it people? Is it what is it? 144. Now, 144 could be the number 9. 144 could be several others. Tribesmen know the way, right? Okay, now, and above the left of the sanctuary on the scroll, there are 14 figures representing the 14 parts of the human body without the phallus. A female body has 14 parts since she has no phallus. The 15th person as the missing phallus is shown in the upper left of the papyrus on the other side of the small tree with 3 aspects. Now, the phallus that's what Osiris depicts, is the phallus, because, and that's what anybody as the completed tree of life represents, is the phallus, because our soul is ejaculated through the top of our head into the cosmos, becomes one with the cosmos. After that, we become the sperm, if you will, for the cosmic egg, if you know what I mean. It's what refreshes or regenerates the generation. The light of the world is incumbent upon ascension, and I think that's what that. You guys think my beard is getting a little ridiculous? It's going to be down here by the time this quarantine ends, because I'm not going to shave it until quarantine is over. Yes, it could very well be. Could very well be. But yeah. Now, this strongly suggests that the Book of the Dead by the time of the 19th dynasty had become a gimmick and a false promise to those who did not seem to know about the pineal event anymore. It was a con, whether intentional or not. It also suggests that Egyptian society had declined from one of truth and understanding to one of misunderstanding and ignorance by the time of the 19th century. And we know that the 18th century was who? The 18th dynasty was who? Because the 19th dynasty, they were ignorant. So the 18th dynasty was Akhenaten. Akhenaten was the first one to say go without instead of going within, right? There is a trinity when two eyes become one, and we open the third eye and see straight. Assistance from another child of God is okay, but your source must be nature, and we will make the same mistake that caused us to lose this knowledge in the first place. And that's what the cycle or the rhythm of creation is. We go from a time of dissolution to a time of abundance over and over again. And I think that's what the cycles, the wheel within the wheel in the Bible is about, Ezekiel's wheel. And the rhythm of creation, the rhythm is gonna get you. The rhythm is gonna get you. The rhythm is gonna get you tonight. The figure now right here is the same thing. This depiction right here of Osiris and Isis, you see the seed bulb on his head. The seed bulb represents, because we are the seed to seed. You see the wasp staff. You see the lotus that goes from the 1 to the 2 to the 3 to the 4, right? And you see the 12 figures up above. Those are the 12 cranial nerves. Those are the 12 zodiac. Or no, these are the 14 right here. These are the 14 aspects of the female body, and then the 15th is the phallus, which Osiris is, and that's why the seed bulb was on the pharaoh's head. They would wear them goofy pharaonic headdresses. And the Nebi's headdress, by the way, is a depiction of the light as well, like the Sphinx. It's got the rays coming off of it. Yes, that is our purpose. When have we ever had abundance? I'm still waiting for that too. I don't know. I'm abundant in my love for my family. I'm abundant. I'm thankful for everything I have. I'm thankful for you guys, and I'm glad you're here. And I'm glad you're seeking the knowledge as am I. Now, I don't know what to tell you, Paula. I feel for you. I empathize. I just, I don't know. I don't know how to address what you just said there. How, when we've ever had abundance, of all the means to ensure happiness throughout the whole life, by far the most important is the acquisition of friends. Yes, we do have all that, but we need more. I don't need more. I just need everybody to accomplish, what they need to accomplish. I don't know how else to address that. I don't know. This is because relying on what is written down is flawed and can be taken away. We need to understand that what is written down comes from nature, so we need to learn how to read it. Yes, nature is the best educator I've ever found. I mean, that is where I find the most solace in comfort, is from nature. But now, the figure dressed as a fish with the crown of Osiris holds the wasp staff, denoting, and this is creature dressed as a fish, right? Right here, holding the wasp staff, which is right here. This thing, right? And he's wearing the crown of Osiris, which is the seed bulb. Now, denoting his completion of understanding, from which hangs the flail of the severity. Yeah, and that's what from which hangs the flail of severity of the truth. He also holds the crook of the shepherd of men, since his heart is merciful in conjunction with the severity of truth. Now, there's your answer right there, Paula. How are in the face of adversity, you still have the shepherd's crook, or the love for humanity, or the love for yourself. You know, if you keep your eye and your mind and your heart to the goal, which is to help all and above yourself. That is the whole Mother Teresa aspect of through your works, your fruits will be sown, right? Or, you know, you get what I'm saying there, you know. So these are the two, and then it says this, you know, the shepherd's crook and the flail, since his heart is merciful in conjunction with the severity of truth. These are the two keys to heaven again. He is about to experience divine union, since his fish suit has turned his whole body into a phallus, ready to ejaculate soul. Isis stands behind him holding the Ankh, the symbol of of God thrice great, and can be interpreted in this sense as a reference to the Kundalini, since Isis stands at his back where his nervous system is located to highlight it. She, as the great goddess, created it. Hence, she gives us our ability to achieve salvation. You understand what that means now? The the Kundalini is the Christos rising through the that's what, you know, it's the Christmas story. You know, the chimney is our 33 vertebrae, and that's why Jesus was 33 years old in the story. You know, and Isis is she gives us our ability to achieve salvation. What does that mean? To the left and the right walls of the sanctuary look like the two lobes of the brain, as if they were elongated into straightness, suggesting the contents of the enclosure represents something that happens in the brain. The brain has gained measure, and that which has crooked in is now straight. Not, that which is crooked is now straight. The roof of the sanctuary has the same flat striped features completely enclosing the event. The stretching bow shape above it is the Egyptian hieroglyph for bread and represents the letter T. And that's what the arch is, you guys. This is why you see this arch right here above Osiris. Oh, where am I? Right here above Osiris, right here. See the arch? This arch right here? That's the house of bread, you know? And that's, you know, that you see this in all churches, this shape right here. That's why it's always at the top, above a doorway, right? Keystone. Yeah. There is so much suffering happening in the world now, and there is nothing I can do to help anyone. Atonement, right. Not what we have, but what we enjoy that constitutes our abundance. Correct. Yes, we are here in this chat to receive something more than, right. Suffering works quite well. Yeah, what it takes for people to wake up is downtrodden strife. You know, the struggle and strife is the one time I've ever bowed to my knees and said, God, please help me. You know, when does that happen? Only when you're, you know, hurting, or when somebody dies, or when you're overly drunk and you're about to puke. You know, I'm not trying to make light of the situation, but yeah, you're right, totally right. That we only through struggle realize that there's more. And if anybody has ever said, oh God, help me, you know, or, you know, that's why prayer works, because you set your mind to it and you bring that which you want towards you. The law of attraction, maybe, you know, the whole world is waking up. You can see it if you look around, right? Top, middle, up, you can see it if you look around. Top middle stone is called the keystone. Yeah, the one above the arch. Yes, very good. Steve, you need to watch the original content that contained no interpretation, the Book of Ra, the creation story, full version. I'll check that out. In between the frequencies, every month, new moon pineal drops fluid into the spine. Full moon sends it back up to hit the fornix. Maxie had opened my eyes to that, to the to the cycles, and the the lunar cycle is what the female what is it, menstrual cycle is in tune with, right? Now the sanctuary, then the house of bread, which is the meaning of the name Bethlehem in Hebrew, the place of the New Testament stories where the Son of God is born. This is highly appropriate since in Hebrew, T represents self-completion as the last letter of the sacred alphabet. This means the iconic depiction represented here is a depiction of the birth of a son of God in the house of bread. The house of bread is right here, This is where the Son of God is born, in our heads. Traditionally, using the chakra system as a model, it is the heart chakra that is called the house of bread and associated with the birthing of the divine child. When we consider the head is a microcosm of the body, we find that the heart has risen to the head and revealed the divine birth within to the individual directly. Hence, we can think on the head as the house of bread also, the heart chakra being the place of conception. So those are the two keys of heaven to heaven as well. The first meeting, the wastaff having the flail and the crook, the night and the day, if you will, because day is the etymological birth of the word day comes from deos, which means God, sky, heaven, shine, and night is devoid of spirit. So I mean, it's the same, over and over. Good, evil, yin yang, dark, light, right? No place like home when she opens her eyes and wakes up. The best prayer is on your knees in tears and broken, right? Who are you kneeling to? Sun is mechanical, all info is light language. There is no separation. Marry the mind and the heart, right? Right, marry the heart and the mind, and that's where the conception happens. The divine child is conceived within the heart, the love for all, the service for others, the love for others, right? Okay, now the road up there is super slick and is lined with the same fish scales as the person, telling us they are going to connect with that highway all the way to the singularity in the blink of an eye. On either side of Horus, 12 serpents line the way to the vanishing point, as if it is to emphasize the mind of coming to one conclusion, or one in understanding, initiating liberation. This representation then seems very much like a pictorial method of conveying the issue associated uniquely with the pineal event. And this is what I was referring to, this right here. See, this is depicting the house of bread as well, right here. See the arch? These are the 12 cranial nerves, 6 on either side of the Son of God, Horus, right? And this is the same house of bread that we are just speaking of in a different depiction. And notice how it's got the pillars on either side right here, the 2 lobes of the brain stretched out, just like as in this pictograph right here, where it's showing right here, where it's showing these pillars that are coming up on either side. Those are the lobes of brain that were crooked once and now straight, and this is the lotus again, just like in this picture right here, where it's showing right here where Osiris is sitting on his throne right here. And then here comes the lotus from the waters of noon. This is the tree of life, the completed tree of life right here, where it's got the 4, the 3, the 2, and the 1 coming from the waters of noon at the feet of Osiris. And that's, what's up, Paul? Enthusiasm, it stems from the Greek word entheos, which can be translated as the God within. Very good. Thank you, Life. Thank you, Laura. Hey, what's up, Brandy? How you doing, sweetheart? The rivers are within the mind as all is. Yes. And but which is within is also without, because we are that which creates the without. The same fish suit is famously associated with the fish god Dogon from Syria. You know, and Dogon. See, when I first woke up, this picture right here. See this picture right here where I thought this meant this had something to do with Nibiru. Well, it does, oddly enough, because Nibiru is a place of the crossing. That is where, because we are where heaven and earth collide, right? We are the cross and the circle combined. That's the old thing where it says when the cross and circle combine, when the two become one. And I think it's in the book of John, is it the book of Thomas? When the two become one. We are all creators, correct? Yes, we are all creators. The same fish suit is famously and this is why the Dogon, the story talk about fish coming out of the, because we're all fish that came from the ocean, and this is why everything is to do with maritime law, and that's on a ship. There's berths. You sleep in a berth. We all have our berth on a ship. Because the ship is essentially we are born from the waters of noon, the great cosmic chaotic ocean, the unmanifest waters of potential. The same fish suit is famously associated with the fish god Dogon from Syria. The root meaning of DGN and Ugaritic is grain. Hence, Dogon became associated with art agriculture. However, grain can symbolically refer to the grain-like soul as a seed in the ocean of chaos that produces a galactic tree of life. Thus, Dogon is a fishman who holds out the pine cone in association with the pineal gland. In fact, he is holding the pine cone at a distance in front of his face, as if it were looking at the pineal cloud at eye level. This makes sense in terms of the event, since the cloud is at eye level when you see it. He is holding a bag of pollen on the right in a relation to generating life. And that's this depiction that we see in Mesopotamian pictographs right here, where they're always holding this bag right here, And if anybody's familiar with what is it, Bright Insight and Jimmy, he just did a video, and he was saying how this is shown everywhere. This is shown in all kinds of all different cultures. This seed bag or this pollen bag. Now this is a completed tree of life. This guy right here, because he's become the seed to seed. He's pollinated for the next cycle, I guess, if you will. He's completed it. And that's your cosmic gardener when you become the completed tree of life. And that's the thorn, the crown of thorns on top of Jesus's head as well. It is the depiction of the completed tree, And did you, Smoking G Sharp? 7 seas, right? All is from the darkest sea. All is from. Had to deal with that today, Steve. Had to deal with what? Mostly water with electricity going through it. Arc them together as one. Correct. Planting seeds, correct. Think right now we are all in labor and it's time to breathe and push. Very good. Shows the bags. Yes, the bag contains prana, bread, maybe. It contains all of the above. Contains all of the above, manna, pollen, seed, because we are the seed to seed. Maritime law. And maritime law is, it has its originations in the Sea of Life, the great chaotic ocean, which are the waters of noon. But yeah, I'm going to try to get a hold of Phil, and we'll continue this talk, and hopefully I can get him on here. You know, I want to continue, but I'd rather speak with somebody that's had the event. And, you know, that's why I'm reading from his book, because he's an angel here. You know, we all are angels, but he's completed it, and we all want to complete it. But what we need to do first is just worry about loving outwardly and living inwardly, right? So if you live inward and love outward, you can't go wrong. In this day, our struggles are apparent. We are all in a state of lockdown, more or less, because of what we're going through. Now, that being said, that doesn't mean we have to concentrate on the negative and go down rabbit hole after rabbit hole, because the rabbit hole we need to be in is in our own mind for our own salvation, because that which is within me is also within you, and that we can all find the place of God, the place of heaven, pleroma, the monad, because it's all within us. That can I come in from the out now? You know, it's hard to keep focused on positive, and you know, we're always going to have struggles, because if it was all peaches and cream, unicorns and rainbows, what would be the point, right? The point to this life is to find ourselves, know thyself. But yeah, I'm glad you guys all joined me, and you know, I'm gonna try to find yes, DNA seeds, maritime law. Nothing has changed here. We still do as we please. Right. Wrong hugs, yes. Pop the cork and cry our eyes and hearts out. Right. Polarizing our thoughts will maintain positivity and avoid the fear-based thinking by staying on guard. Make sure everybody checks out Life with Laura's channel. She's an awesome individual. I'm glad you guys are here today. Thank you, Mary Wins, for showing. Thank you, Menza. Smoking G Sharp. Free Press 666. Mary Wins. Brandy. Love you, sweetheart. All of you guys. P Turtle. Cayman 830. Paula. Paul from Newcastle. I'm glad you're here. Make sure I'm not forgetting any. Piccolo Son. Thanks, you guys, for joining me. You know, and I wish nothing but the best for you guys. Best for everybody, right? Talking to you later. Love, peace, chicken grease, y'all. Bye.